Om Shanti. Good morning to everyone. And it's so nice to be here in Madhuban. This is a mini Madhuban, isn't it? Baba often says that wherever we go, that's our Madhuban. Whether it's our home, place of work, he says, you create the environment, and that becomes your Madhuban. And every day, Baba talks to us, he communicates us through the Muralis. And we sometimes say this is a letter of love from God. And he talks to us in such a way that he raises our spirits in a world which is drowning in an ocean of sorrow. Baba raises us from that ocean of sorrow and takes us into an ocean of happiness. And so why is it that sometimes we fluctuate? Why is it that we're going up and down? Why is it that we can't remain constantly the way Baba wants us to be? And it's all down to how we understand and how we use this knowledge in a very practical way. You know, like today, Baba was talking about keeping the attainments constantly merged. And if we were to draw a list of all the titles of self-respect that Baba has given us, we will find it's a very long list. And if we were to just even take one title or one attainment on a daily basis, we would become the embodiment of it. So why is it that we're not becoming the embodiment? For me, knowledge is not about telling others what to do and how to use it. It's about me understanding and applying this knowledge in a very practical way. So in the drama, and especially in the confluence stage, we will face such obstacles that we never even faced on the path of devotion. You know, I remember listening to Baba in a Sakra Murlis, and Baba said, you will have such thoughts that you never even had on the path of devotion. So you think about, well, you know, I don't know what Baba's talking about, and because the soul could have had a very pure life, you know, it would have never experienced the vices. But the moment you come into Gyan, those very thoughts that never existed prior to that will come. And why do they come? Is so that we become strong, so that we become pure. So in the confluence age, every soul will have to face their own demons, and they will have to conquer them. Each soul has their own demons. Some have the demons of ego, some have the demons of greed, and I know my own defects, I know my own demons, and I'm sure you know yours. So when these situations come in a practical form, they are our examination papers. And Baba, in the form of the teacher, gives us knowledge. You know, today Baba says, this knowledge is just in two words, me and Baba. Can you hear me? Okay, I'll hold it like so.
It's much better.
Is that much better?
Yeah.
I have to upgrade the sound system here. So, in the confluence age, it really is about myself and Baba. It has nothing to do with anyone else. I remember listening to Jagdish Bai once, and he says, you know, there's only three things you need to understand about knowledge. One is the soul, the supreme soul, and the cycle. Once you've understood these three, you will understand anything. You can explain about anything, any talk about any subject. Just understand the soul, the supreme soul, and the cycle. And that's what this knowledge is about. It's about the self. It's where we were the embodiments of knowledge, although we didn't have knowledge. So in the golden and silver age, we're just the embodiments. We don't have knowledge as such. We're actually very innocent. Baba calls us royal Buddhas, doesn't he? But then in the copper age, we search for the truth. We search for the knowledge because we've lost the experience of that. And as such, we become more and more influenced by the vices until we cannot tolerate anymore. We've reached the absolute limit of sorrow and we call out to God. I'm sure you've called out to God, yes?
Yeah.
You have? I know I have. I remember once, just before coming into Gyan, I was experiencing such upheaval. I found it very difficult to cope with. And no one was able to sort of resolve the issues. No one had given me the understanding or the time. And it was almost like I was on my own. And all I did was says, God, if you're there, you know, I want you to sort of hear me. And of course, he does hear our call. He comes and he awakens us when we've reached that point, when we know, yes, we're ready to transform. So in the confluence age, Baba gives us the knowledge of the self, the soul. But the moment we have this knowledge, the battle begins. It's not that we have understanding and we become the embodiment of it. It takes time. You know, while my time in Bangkok, we went to some cooking lessons, Thai cooking. And the teacher was very good. everything out, and my wife and myself, we were doing this Thai cooking, vegetarian Thai cooking. And although she explained everything, there were elements that I forgot. And then there was the practical aspect. But it was during the practical aspects that I actually learned more about the Thai cooking than all the information that she was giving. And in the same way, when we experience Baba's knowledge in a practical way, when we experience the examinations and the test papers, when our own sanskars of body consciousness reveal their most subtle forms, it is then we realize what Baba is teaching us. And that's when we will face the obstacles. Now, we can approach it one of two ways. We can either see it as an obstacle. Why has it come? I'm Baba's child. They shouldn't come to me. Or Baba says, it's an opportunity. It is an opportunity to learn and grow. If you look at successful people in life throughout the world, in any sector, the one thing they will always share is that I learned more through my downs than I did when I was going on my ups. And it's Brahmins who in the conference age have to experience their own demons in their worst form. And they come in the form of thoughts. More than anything else, they come in thoughts. And so we have to tame these, and we have to overcome these thoughts by using Baba's knowledge. And so Baba's knowledge is very simple. We all acknowledge that. And it's like Baba said, when we get in a Brahmin gathering, we're always clapping, we're always shaking our heads. But when we're by ourselves, that is the time when we actually learn. So when we come into class, this is the theory. The moment we leave, the examination begins. So in that moment, I will either see it as an opportunity to grow, or I will ask questions, I will become confused, and I will come down. So this is what makes us number wise. But we don't have to be number wise, because this knowledge is not about others, it's about the self. For me, I've never really been concerned about others. I've never been concerned, why does that soul not come to class? They should know better. They should know that God has come and God is teaching. It's about me. If I can become strong, then I can make others strong. And so whatever the obstacles I face, they have come to make me stronger. Baba often talks about the bells. People go to the Hindu temples and they ring the bell to invoke the deities so they can answer their prayers. And so Baba says that situations that happen in our lives, they're like bells. It's also a reminder that we need to awaken, and they have come to make us stronger. And the bell can come in many forms. From our immediate family, from our family, friends, at work, from a total stranger, from our Brahmin family. And that it is an opportunity to learn. So I'm thinking to myself, am I happy with the effort that I'm making? And if I'm happy with the efforts that I'm making, then I'll be easy going with everyone else. There's always a sign. In every things that happen to us, there is a measurement. So the sign of measurement in Brahmin life is, as like Baba said today, that we're light, we're flying. So if we're troubled, if we're thinking too much, then that is also a signal that's saying, the drama is telling us that I need to pay attention to myself. Remember, the knowledge is all about the self. It's just Baba and me. It's not about the other soul and Baba, it's about me. Because ultimately, when we go to work, for example, does it matter whether someone comes to work or not? Whether they come or not is irrelevant, because I'm still going to get paid. And how much work I do, whether it's from the heart or whether I do it through deception, it doesn't matter. If I do everything from the heart, then I know I've done a fair day's work for a fair day's pay. So Baba, in the same way, says, just follow my directions. I give you these directions to make you become like me. And I pay you, no one else. The daddies don't pay us. The seniors don't pay us. Baba pays us. So we're doing everything in the consciousness that Baba is talking to me. And even like today, Baba was talking about, if someone gives you an instruction, whether it's an instrument soul or a daddy, just have the awareness that Baba is talking to you. Baba's giving me that instruction. So if I have the consciousness that whatever happens to me is for my purpose, is for my sake, then I can move forward. And what stops us from moving forward as Brahmins is what Baba talks about. One, we think about others, and two, we look at others. We get so caught up in about others, that they're not doing this, they're not doing that we forget to pay attention to ourselves. So this knowledge is about the self. And if I'm doing things accurately, if I'm following Baba's Srimad, then the sign of that, I will be light, I will be happy, I'll be easygoing, I'll be living in the moment. So this knowledge is not about others, this knowledge is about the self. So when obstacles and situations come, I need to recognize they have come for my benefit. So I'm always asking the question when situations come, what has this individual, what has this situation come to teach me about myself, which I have not yet understood? Because Baba says the drama is beneficial, is Kalyankari, yes? So I got to understand, what is the lesson that this person has become the instrument to teach me about myself? So I've faced many situations, and I'm asking myself the question, why has this come? And then one day, I get a revelation. There's a realization. This is the lesson. And once I've learned the lesson, I move to the next lesson. And as Brahmins, we will continue to learn lessons till the moment we leave our body. What Baba calls Maya will come till the moment we leave the body. What is Maya but our own problems, our own wasteful thinking? So this knowledge is about understanding the self. It's not about looking at others. It's not about thinking about others. It's just about being the embodiments. When Baba was talking about the Madhuban residents in today's Avyat Murli, he says they're like the palace of mirrors, because each one is an embodiment of the truth. And then I'm looking at myself. Do I see my reflection in that individual, or am I seeing the defects? So according to how I see myself, that's how I will see others. So I need to check myself. This is why Baba says keep a chart. If I keep this awareness on myself, I keep this attention on myself, then I'll know what I need to do. And if I know what I need to do, then Baba helps me. So this aspect of courage where Baba says, become fearless. Don't think too much. Everything will happen in its right way. So each one of us needs to check ourselves. What is the situation? What has this individual come to teach me about myself, which I did not know? Because sometimes we can go in a state of denial. We can say, well, I'm not the problem. You're the problem. If you weren't in my life, life will be brilliant. But you know what? If they weren't in our lives, there'll always be someone else to replace that individual, and we will just continue where we left off. How many times have we said, oh, if I go to the other side of the world, I'll avoid these, I will be fine. And when you go to the other side of the world, you'll find that same person there. And you think, what have I done? I remember a story about a man goes to a seaside town in the UK. He says, this local stranger, this old man who lives locally. He says, what's this town like? And the old man says, well, what was your town like? He says, oh, they were always bitter, they were always talking behind each other's backs, and they were always putting each other's down. And then the old man said, well, actually, this town is a little bit like that. And as he walked further, another person came, just was a total stranger, and he says, excuse me, could you tell me what this town is like? And he asked the question, what was your town like? He said, oh, the people were so happy, they were always cooperative, they were always kind, they were always looking out for each other. And the old man said, well, people are like that here as well. It's just like that in your town. So everything in life is a reflection of how we see ourselves. So Baba gives us the mirror of truth. And do I recognize the truth that Baba wants me to be? See, Baba never forgets who we are, who we were, and who we're becoming. But we forget. We doubt ourselves. You know, when things are going great, it's like, wow, this knowledge is the best ever. I want to be with Baba forever. And when things go wrong, why did this happen? Why did I take this knowledge? I would have been better off outside. But actually, everything happens to make us stronger. And so, when situations come, don't be afraid of them. I mean, the last few years, I've experienced more problems than ever before. You know, I went into the building trade, and I thought, yeah, you know, I'm very happy. Baba's given me a very comfortable life. Things are going well, financially, economically, relationships. But it's almost like you get stuck into a little comfort zone and you think, what if? Let me see if I can do this. And the moment you get out of your comfort zone, you suddenly experience a side of you that you never experienced. So in the last few years, I've experienced a side of me that I wouldn't have realized had I not gone out there. But rather than looking about, oh, why did I do this? Why did I do that? I've actually realized that situation has made me stronger. I feel now that I am more stronger than I was 5 years ago, even though I've experienced more upheaval. I could have avoided it. I could have said, you know, I'm easy, happy with this life, what more do I need? But as Brahmins, we can't stay in one place. We can't stand still. We have to grow. We have to spiritually grow. That means we have to push the boat out, and we have to interact with the whole world. And when we interact with the whole world, it's then we see what soul consciousness is. It is easy to be soul conscious when everyone is soul conscious, eh? Are you not happy when everyone else is happy? But can you remain happy when everyone else is unhappy? Then we understand what soul consciousness is. So for all of us, it is an opportunity to really excel and grow spiritually. And so whatever happens, don't deny it. Don't walk away from it. Don't be afraid. Baba says, you are a Chalgar. All these temples that people build, I think it was Brahmins who built these temples. I don't think any other ones would have done it, because they wouldn't have understood this knowledge. You know, the Dilwala temple, you know, it's like Baba, we know Brahma Baba built the Somnath temple, although Daddy Janki has claimed she built the Dilwala temple. I think every one of the daddies are claiming the big temples, yes, that I did that. But it's the Brahmins who started devotion. It's the Brahmins who built this, because they have always experienced the truth and they have been searching for the truth. And now in the confluence age, Baba's come. And so we will face obstacles, we will face situations, and they will always come unannounced. They won't say, oh, by the way, are you ready? Are you ready? I'm going to test you now. No, they will come suddenly, like Baba says. So in that moment, we're either ready or not. And when we're ready, we will not be afraid. We will say yes, because we know all the points of knowledge that Baba gives us it will come into practical form. We will know this is nothing new. We don't even have to say this, it's nothing new. It's just like, yeah, everything is good. So the point of knowledge is that, yes, we practice this here when we listen to the Murli, but we need yoga power to put that knowledge into practice. So what makes us go beyond obstacles, what goes and takes us away from sort of being stuck, are two things. One is knowledge, and the second is yoga. So as Brahmins, if we want to become strong and we want to be unshakable, you know, Baba often talks about, you know, you too can pass with honors. On one hand, Baba says there's only 8. But if we've just come to Baba and we say, well, Baba, if I've only come and you've already said there's the rosary of 8, well, what was the purpose of me coming now? Well, Baba says, no, you can still become part of the 8. You just got to have a mindset, you know? So whenever we come, it is the right time for us. And we come because we're ready to accept Baba's knowledge. And so I need to make my stage strong. And there's 2 legs, you know, like the 2 legs of the body. The 2 legs for Brahmins to become strong is, one is Amrit Vela. We should never ever miss Amrit Vela. So even I am away from the center or anywhere, I never ever forget to get up at my time. I put an alarm. And the second aspect is the Murli. Murli is the second leg. So if we get these 2 right, this will make us strong. You know, this is when we become that Achalgar. This is when we become like Angad. And so whether we're in Bangkok or whether in Madhuban or whether we're in the UK, there will be moments that will test us to the limits. But rather than saying, oh no, I don't know if I can do this, just say, okay. It's like Baba says, just say, Haji, I'm ready. Yeah? And when I'm ready, drama becomes our friend. Maya becomes our friend. And Baba, as always, becomes our constant companion. And we will overcome the situation. And as we become stronger and stronger, then we can provide support for others. So this is not about telling others. This is about me telling myself. So this is why Baba often says, become your own judge and become a lawyer for others. Don't become lawyers for yourself and judges for others. You know, in Christianity, Christ said, judge not others lest he be judged first. He is without sin, cast the first stone. Meaning, you know, don't worry about judging others, just judge yourself. And that's what Baba teaches us. He says, examine yourself, look at yourself. And then through that, you become strong. And so whatever we're doing, have the faith and have absolute faith that I am a victorious jewel. So bring all the titles of self-respect, all the attainments that Baba's given us, and then we'll experience that in a very practical way. And this knowledge at the end of the day is just about the self. It's not about others. It's not about whether they're following Srimad or not, whether they're following the Maryadas or not. Just ask the self, am I the embodiment of what Baba wants me to become? Or am I just talking about it? Or have I become the example? So this is why Baba says, follow the Father and see the Father. Follow Brahma Baba in practical things, and when it comes to the soul, just see Shiv Baba. Om Shanti. Acha. Anyone wants to ask any questions or share your comments? It's always nice.
Thank you so much.
Because I always feel like sharing is good. Because it's easy to talk knowledge, but it's good to share one's own experiences.
what you said is very true, that when you come in practical interaction with others, that is when you know that what you have said. Because normally with young, a lot of time, I mean, there are more mothers than brothers, and then if your spouse is supportive and everything is fine, then you think that everything is going fine. But it is only when you actually, it could be in seva or in any other interaction with others, that you are able to actually able to apply the jnana and know that how to function.
Yeah, so the point being raised is that test papers will come often from our own family situations, even in service. If you want to know what ego is, come onto the field of service. And the moment you come onto the field of service, you will know how much knowledge we have imbibed. So if I can kill the ego and I can cooperate, the sign of egoless is cooperation. The sign of ego is, I don't know, I'm telling you, you do what I tell you. Okay. So the sign of egoless is that we maintain our self-respect, we give respect to others, and the sign of the practical form is that we're able to cooperate.
And absolute surrender, I would say. That surrender in the sense that surrender of the attachment to my idea, my opinion, like Baba said, that Balak Somali, and like, okay, you do, but then at the same time you are not attached to your own opinion.
Yes, the surrender is an interesting word, because people often say, I'm a surrendered sister or a surrendered brother. And sometimes, Baba says, don't think that just because you live at a center that you are surrendered. A surrendered soul doesn't have to live at a center or have to be single. No, a soul is one who has surrendered their intellect to God.
Absolutely.
The one who follows Baba Srimad, that is a surrendered intellect. So whether you are young or old, whether you live by yourself or you live with many, as long as the soul follows Baba's directions, that is a sign of a surrendered intellect. That is the sign of a surrendered soul. So they are the ones that Baba often calls who are teachers. So there's the gross level that we see, but this knowledge is about being at this very subtle level. It's like, am I following Baba's directions? And the sign of that is that we just have to be it. We have to just become the example. You know what Baba says? Be simple, be a sample. So it's not about convincing people how clever I am in Gyan or how clever I am in explaining. It's not about that. It's about being the practical form. So someone who actually is the embodiment of Baba's knowledge, they have a greater understanding of knowledge than someone who doesn't. I remember a sharing that took place about some brothers who were following Baba's Srimad accurately. Baba often says, write a chart. So these brothers, these surrendered brothers, they will write a chart. The moment they got up, they would write a chart, and they would keep their chart rigidly. Religiously, they would write their chart. And there was this mother in the center who didn't write a chart. She never, was involved in the aspects of service like these brothers were. And so the brothers would mock this mother. They say, this mother, just a mother, doesn't do anything. Anyway, through a trance messenger, Baba said, the one who is a true child is the mother, not the brothers. For them, it's just a show. It's the mother who's actually experiencing that connection from the heart. So we know when we are following Baba's directions is when we first connect with Baba. The Srimad is consider yourself to be a soul and remember me, your Father, and your sins will be absolved. And this is something that's written in all religions across the world. So if my connection with Baba, and I may not understand knowledge, I may not be even be able to explain the depths of knowledge the way Baba explains, especially when we listen to him in the Abhya Merlis. It doesn't matter. Am I the embodiment? Am I happy? Am I content? Am I making others happy and content? If I am, then I have understood knowledge better than anyone else. All the rest is just enablers. I call them enablers. Yeah, you know, it doesn't matter how you cook your meal as long as it tastes nice at the end. That's what people will remember. You know, Baba says at the end, when you come in front of Dharamraj, he's not going to ask you how many times did you wear your white clothes and how many times you came to class. He's just going to say, well, how many people did you make happy? Hmm? And if you made people happy, then you're following Baba Srimad. Because you can only make others happy if you're happy yourself. Hmm? So it's not about the way we look or how many classes we attend. It's about being the embodiment of knowledge. Yeah? Gyan ka sarup. You know, that's what Baba teaches us. That's what soul consciousness is. Because think about the deities. The deities are the embodiment of soul consciousness, and yet they don't have any knowledge. They don't know the knowledge of the past, present, and the future. They're not Trikamdarshi, they're not Trilokina. But they know that they're a soul, and that's all we need to practice. This is why Baba says, just remember the self, I'm a soul, and then I can connect with Baba. And that's all that needs to happen. Yeah.
Still, there is an importance of gathering and importance of moving.
The importance of the satsang is very important. Baba often says, you know, in a satsang, you know, if we have the opportunity, we can come. True. But not everyone has access. I give you an example. You come to the West. If you go to Iceland, it's a country that's north of the UK, all by itself. Do you know how many Brahmins were there at that time? One. What satsang is that soul going to go to? And yet that soul was a very powerful soul. Why? Because he understood the lesson of being a soul and soul conscious. So if we can, we should go to a Brahmin gathering. We didn't say, oh, I don't need to go. Baba says I can stay by myself, you know, I'm a powerful soul. No. Then give your power to other souls and take that to a gathering. But if you can't, for one reason or another, then that's fine. We have to take everything into consideration. We have to think about our own circumstances. So this is why Baba says, I give you a divya buddhi, I give you a divine intellect, and use it. So we need to understand how to use the knowledge in a practical way. So if I can go to Madhuban once a year, we should go to Madhuban once a year. But I know many souls who are not in a position to go, and yet they have that deep desire. Does Baba not care about them? Is Baba not concerned about them? Of course he is. He will make it happen. But where we can, we should go. Because the power of the gathering is very powerful. I can study the Murli at home. The center is some 10 minutes, not even that, about 10 minutes drive in the morning. I live about 3.5 miles from it. I don't have to go. I never miss a Murli. I do my Amrit, I can stay at home. I can do all of that. I can stay at home, and yet I go every day. When I'm in Leicester, I never miss going to the center. Why? Because it's the power of the gathering. I'm also taking power from that gathering, but I'm also contributing to that gathering. So never underestimate the power of the self. And if it's, I can come to a center, then I should do so. And I shouldn't make excuses. You know, like Baba says, the moment we start making excuses, carelessness comes in. And then carelessness leads to laziness. And then it's a downward path. So yes, come to the class, but if we're isolated, then we have to take that into consideration as well. So I like to see Gyan as being very practical rather than saying, well, I haven't seen you in class. But you don't know their circumstance. This is where Baba says, you can't judge others. Yeah. But if they're always happy and they're content, then they're definitely following Baba's Srimad. 100%. Yes? Gotcha. Anyone else who wants to share or comment? You know, one thing with Baba, I have to be honest, I am never embarrassed about anything asking Baba. But I don't ask it in class, it's in silence. And because you've got to have a very clear and transparent relationship. And I have seen souls who've asked questions to the daddies when the daddies were around. And I thought, wow, what courage they've had to ask such questions. And just stop for traffic control. I've been very fortunate. I've always had an opportunity to go to Madhuban, but only 1 year I couldn't go. That was because I ran out of money, and the other time was COVID. We were literally about to leave. 2 days before we were about to leave out, the Indian government says no more, no one can come. So if you can go, go. Okay, courage.
I have a question.
Question.
Since I'm just very new to the knowledge, there are times when I've had woken up and I've had severe self-doubt, like, what am I doing here? What should I say to myself?
Okay, so question is, I'm new in Gyan, and sometimes I have questions of self-doubt and what am I doing here? Don't ask questions like that. Ask yourself, what have I gained? Why am I coming here? It's because I like the company of Brahmin souls. I like the company of truth. It's made me peaceful and made me happy. Don't compare yourself with anyone, no matter how long they've been in Gyan. You know when you hear Baba say, who's been in Gyan 30 years, and everyone's raising their hands? That's it. It's not about how long I've been in Gyan. It's about how quickly I've put Baba's knowledge into practice. This is why Baba says, even those who come at the end, they will be last so fast, so first, is that they will get it and they'll just put it. So don't ask the question, what am I doing here? You know, if you go to a supermarket, you may not agree with everything that they sell, and you may not buy everything that they sell, but you take what you want. Baba's knowledge is the same. Baba's supermarket is unlimited. So take what you want and put the other ones to aside, and then experiment and explore. You know, it's like cooking. You know, my eyes have opened up a little bit more with Thai cooking. So I'm going to experiment and explore. So I'm not asking about what am I doing in Bangkok. I don't need to come here. I came to see my daughter, really. You know, in a few days' time, I'm going to Madhuban. So I'm there at the right place at the right time because the drama's put me there. and I need to embrace it, not challenge it. I need to accept it. That's what soul consciousness is. It's about accepting the self and everything. Okay? So never ever doubt the self. Doubts come when I compare and compete with others. Just be yourself, and you'll always be happy.
So nice. And also what brings us to the Gyan is very important to remember that before how I was before, how I am now, even listening to very little Gyan. What difference has it made to my life? Like Baba says, don't forget your childhood days. It's so important. If we don't remember that, we we are in another world. We need to remember how was I before? Was I in a search for myself, or was I in a search for God? Whatever, we need to remember that.
Yeah. There was reminding what Baba often says, don't forget your childhood days. And people often say to the Brahmins, what have you gained from this? And that same question was asked to the Buddha, wasn't it? What has meditation given you? He says, I don't know what meditation has given me, but there's one thing I have experienced is I don't get angry anymore, I don't get upset, I don't experience sorrow. And so it's not a question of what we've given, it's what we've gained. Absolutely. It's Baba. This is why Baba says never forget your attainments. What have we come? I mean, if we were to look at our lifestyles now compared to before, if Baba had told me that you would have to renounce this, you have to renounce that, there was a long list, I would have never have come to Baba.
I mean, same. I wasn't in a search of God, but I was in a search for myself. I wasn't interested in God. I used to think there's so many bad things happening in this world. Like people are dying with hunger, there's a famine going on, there's people can't grow because there's no water and all this. You see, there used to be a lot of documentaries about Ethiopia and countries like those. And I used to think, there isn't a God. If there was a God, he would fix all this. So that was my views about God. But what I want to know, what am I doing here on this planet? What is the purpose? And with the first lesson it answered, who am I first? I used to think, child is born, die, do X, Y, Z. That's not life. So when the first lesson gave me all the answers, and after that everything else was explained, and thinking went over my head, the next thing I understood is the ladder picture. I was there and where am I now? That explained everything. And that's it. Just those two things. And then I start going to the Murli, and in the Murli, Baba saying, Krishna is not the God, I am God. I'm thinking, who's that saying Krishna is not the God, I'm God? Because I'm Sikh, you see. I knew nothing about Krishna, Lakshmi, Narayan, none of that. So Sikhs, we have like 10 gurus and you have Guru Quran. But it's so easy to understand because in Sikhism it says there's only one God. But I wasn't interested in that. So once my question was answered, gradually I understood everything about Hindu devotion. Baba says there's no Hindu. I was talking to somebody just before we came. I said, do you know there's Hindus don't have any scriptures? They call themselves Hindu because they live in Hindustan, and they live in Hindustan. That's the reason. But it's actually Devi Devta Dharma. She said, she don't have a gyan. She said, it makes sense. They don't have any scripture. Because Baba makes us understand all this. It's gradually as our intellect becomes clearer, we understand what Baba's talking about. And then, because Baba always says religion, and many years later I understood what religion really means, what Baba is saying. Baba is saying way of life. That's what religion is. Religion isn't, you reading a holy book, or you doing certain rituals. No, it's a way of life. It's Sarvaguna Sampan, Sampurna Nirvikari, Solatalasim. That's what That's what Dharam is. It's fascinating when Baba opens that window, you can see that. It's fascinating. It really is. I mean, we went to some of the islands, beautiful beaches, but we were thinking, golden age, what is that one? This is the end of the cycle, and it's still beautiful. What would it be like in the golden age? Just to imagine. I don't think we even sort of like see a fraction of what Baba's trying to explain, you know, about the nature. Yeah. It's beautiful what Baba explains.
Actually, anyone else who wants to share their thoughts?
The Hindi was going to ask him Hindi because he understands Hindi.
Yes, you want to?
When I miss the car last Sunday, when I'm in the country, and then Baba very kind, lead me again.
Yeah. You know, each one of us has a unique connection with Baba, so use that connection. Don't say, oh, I don't know if I can make a connection. Baba's there, just pick that phone up, and that phone is, I'm a soul. I belong to Baba. Just say my Baba. That's the key. My Baba. From the heart, then Baba answers that call. And if your heart is pure, then Baba fulfills that desire. And what is a pure heart? When you want to share things with the whole world, that's good. A pure desire is not just, oh, I want this, I want that. No, I want to be happy. It's about being benevolent. This is where Baba says, you have to become master bestowers. I don't want to live in a world where some have something and some don't. You know, we were coming back from our place in Krabi, and there was this, we were just going on our taxi, and just at traffic lights, and a dual carriage, there's this one person. It's beating down with it's a very hot sunshine. And he's selling this, a little garland, just little rose. And he's just holding this in the middle of the road, just at this traffic light. And he wants 20 baht. And I'm thinking, you know, how hard this world is for this person. And I thought, he's gonna stay there until he sells this one little a rose. Maybe someone will buy and give it as a part of their devotion. And then I looked, and he had 2 more. He had a total of 3. And I thought, I don't want to live in a world where I have happiness and he doesn't. I want to live in a world where we all are living in great comfort and happiness. But I also know that it will happen. And I know that the Baba comes to liberate all souls, whether they believe in Baba or not, that he will take all the souls, because God has a connection with every soul in this world, even if it's the last soul, and he knows that he will fulfill their desire. So I know when I look at that soul that was selling that particular sort of flower, he too will one day have a connection with Baba and be liberated from that. But we are the ones who've got a head start. We're just ahead of the game, that's all. And so we have to make the most of it, and whatever we have, we need to share with others, and that is a pure heart.
Maybe it is something that they say that if you do the work by heart, it will be temporary, but if you do by brain, it will be permanent. What it means?
It is the reverse. She is asking, they say that if you do something by heart, it will be temporary, but if you do it by brain, it will be permanent. I think it's the reverse.
It's, yeah. Baba says, you know, don't do it through intellectually, do it from the heart. Sometimes you don't need to understand Baba's knowledge with the intellect. Just do it from the heart. Just follow it, and Baba will take care of it. And Baba often says, if you do it from the heart, when you say, I will be there. I will touch you what to say and what not to say. I have experienced this countless times, and I'm thinking, wow, where did that come from?
So,
Yeah.
so when we study Baba knowledge, we should do by heart.
Yes.
Yeah.
The love comes from heart, right? And then because of the clarity of intellect and purity of heart, what the brother said that Baba would touch you. He will give you the right thought and the right.
Yes. One thing Baba's always said, and which I'm working on, I wouldn't say it's there, it's seeing everyone as a soul. So I'm still saying, you're a soul, you're a soul, you're a soul, you're a soul. So even before Gyan, I never liked discrimination of any kind. I never liked people disliking each other just because the color of their skin or the way they followed a particular path. But now there's the understanding that actually we're all souls, and that is a huge insight, a realization that actually all we've been trapped in is looking on the exterior level and not seeing the interior. It's like when you see the cars on the road, you just see the brand, you see the color, you see the size, but what you don't see is the driver in that vehicle. And that's all the soul is. You know, the soul is just this subtle point of light. So just need to have that practice. I'm looking at a soul. No matter how extreme that soul is playing their part, you know, you think there can't be a soul, but yes, they are a soul. Acha. Okay? Okay. Om Shanti.